final countdown. It's actually not the final countdown.
It's
It is
very much not.
the pre-show countdown. Hey, Dave. Nice to see you. We haven't spoken in 2 whole weeks, which used to be our old rhythm, but now we're on the weekly rhythm, and it feels like ages. I miss you.
Yeah, I felt the same, man. It's good to see you. Good to speak to you again.
Yeah.
How have things been?
Things have been very hectic. I've been doing so much, and most of it is pretty awesome because I don't know, like so much is happening in server land, in front end land, in TelemetryDeck API land. But yeah, I will tell you all about it in a second.
Yep.
But also, you have been super busy, right?
I've been really busy. Yeah, I've drum roll. Finally released GoVJ 3. Hey.
Ta-da! Fireworks!
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you, mate. That's it's good to be on this side of the release for sure.
Did it give you satisfaction and like a nice, warm, glowy feeling?
Oof. Do you know what? Like, it's a funny question because I had this conversation with one of our I don't want to describe him as a listener of the show, but Chris, he's one of the co-admins of the Discord that we link in the show notes. And yeah, the conversation I was having was that I actually feel no real satisfaction after the release of an app. It's usually more like relief it's over, like there's a but. The but on the end of that is like, okay, so the actual just hitting release and putting it out there, I felt relief, but the fuzzies and the happy stuff has actually been all about the user feedback that I've had since then. That's definitely given me like a lot of satisfaction and a lot of all the dopamine.
Oh yeah, I can totally get that. Also, I feel like if you're like me, like sometimes if I put out stuff, I'm just like, okay, now I've done that, so I can work on the next thing, and I almost completely forget to celebrate the wins. So I'm hoping you find some time to celebrate your win because that's actually really awesome. And also, I'm going to find some time to say, hey, welcome to Waiting for Review, a show about the majestic indie developer lifestyle. Join your scintillating hosts, Dave and Daniel, and let's hear about a tiny slice of their thrilling lives. Join us while waiting for review, but no, actually, the waiting for review has passed. We are now celebrating for release.
That's right. Well, I'm not going to rebrand everything, Daniel, because I'm far too lazy for that. But yes.
Fine.
Yes, sorry. But I will talk a bit about the app release and the user feedback and bits and bobs in a bit, maybe. But Daniel, we've had some listener feedback since we last spoke.
There are links. In our thingy.
Yeah, so shall I read the first one?
I just clicked it. Sure, yeah, read it.
No, you read it. It was atted at you. Go for it.
All right. This is by Chris Wu, aka Museum Shuffle at Mastodon.social. Directed at me, which is why I'm confused because I didn't realize it would end up in the show notes. The text directed at me is, I see you woke up this day, and shows violence. And then there's an image, and the image is a screenshot of the TelemetryDeck account where I used to post every morning a good morning message that had various purposes. Most of them was to amuse myself, but also like every now and then I would try to surface various like nice tidbits. Also, especially for the more algorithm-driven platforms, it was also a bit of the idea was also to hit a few of the keywords so the algorithm would like bring us to the right people.
Yeah.
Anyway, so one of the last few updates of those before I kind of stopped because it got too much work to think about these all every time, every day, is good morning to all Objective-C developers. How are those knees today?
Oof.
Which I'm so proud of that one. I am so damn proud of that one.
Are you suggesting there's a certain age relationship to Objective-C knowledge these days?
Are you suggesting there isn't?
True. Very true. And I'm just looking
Actually,
at
I still have a few unreleased ones in my queue before. Like I kind of just stopped because I was like, okay, this is not.
I think
not
you should keep them. I think you should keep them and schedule them up.
I should probably
just make them weekly instead of daily, and then you've got loads. But
yeah, maybe.
I'm scrolling down the replies, Daniel, and yeah, there's so obviously Chris pointed out that you woke up today and chose violence. Yeah, I feel that. I definitely feel a little bit seen. Not that I describe myself as an Objective-C developer these days, but
no, you're an Objective-knee developer.
Oh, dude. There's one there from Rob Whittaker as well saying, oh, that feels personal. And obviously a conversation descends into a back and forth. Yeah, and I love this. I love this other interaction there with somebody tagged as Green Sky Over Me, where they said, why do Objective-C developers get knee problems specifically? And Chris then replies with, their age. The Wikipedia page for it says it first appeared 40 years ago.
Damn.
Yeah, and finally, another person we both know, I think, Sven, aka at Fine Structure on Mastodon.social.
Famously known for co-creating the Swift package index.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and he simply replies with brutal. Which I think, not to over-egg it, but I think he's probably right. So, yeah, thank you, Daniel, for making a reasonable percentage of us feel our ages.
The only post recently that went more viral than this one was when I claimed that people are using the Vision Pro less and less.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine for various reasons. But the thing
is, hang on, I'm gonna send you a link. That is proof that will actually prove my point. Yeah, that is actually because that is actually live. It is just not linked.
Yeah.
Where do I send you this? Of course, in
put it in the show notes or iMessage. Either's good.
So please describe what you see.
So I see a silhouette of a man. 1 second. What do I actually see? I see, here we go, visionOS users. How many users does Apple Vision Pro have in the TelemetryDeck dataset? And just to be very clear, there is a graph straight after that with various colors representing the different counts that are going on. That's to do with visionOS versions ranging from 1.0.0 through to 2.4.0. And graph go down. Graph go down, mate. Yeah, I mean, there's a point where it's sort of hovering, which looks like it's hovering somewhere around about maybe the 450 sort of mark towards the last bit of May. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, graph goes up and then goes down, kind of showing the release of the Vision Pro itself and the interest in the tail off. Yeah. So I'm not going to spoil it anymore with a bad audio descriptive. It's definitely linked in the show notes, so people can go and take a look, because that is telemetrydeck.com/survey/apple/visionOS/users. But yeah, that's interesting, and it's interesting it went viral because I can imagine that was from people either saying, "Yeah, called it. Vision Pro, or it's from people saying, "What? I love my Vision Pro. I'm using it all the time. How dare you say nobody's interested?"
Yeah, but I feel like also I don't want to go too deep into Vision Pro today, but I feel like
That's
also
fine.
it is people who are kind of mad at Apple that that
Yes.
Apple's not doing more, like because they built this incredibly awesome hardware, and I'm kind of in that camp for now. I think that's gonna be my position on Vision Pro from now on, which is like they built this incredibly cool tech, and now they're kind of letting it languish with mediocre software supports, even from Apple
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah. I can understand that, and it's a similar sort of anger as to when, say, Google decides to sunset a product that people love. The famous sort of "kill by Google,"
Mm-hmm.
infamous "kill by Google" kind of thing. This feels like Apple's version of that is playing out, which is where it's like, yeah, it's released, we've done all of this, and now we're just not going to give it much love. It's sort of
Which
like a
is just
yeah,
weird to me. I don't know. Like I don't
yeah,
know. Let's see what WWDC brings. It is just around the
100%.
corner.
Exactly. Yes.
But
Um,
I want to hear more about. Wait, we have another user feedback before we have that, right? Hang on.
we
Okay.
do. Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
Let's talk about
We have
that.
another piece of user feedback, which is a tweet by Holger Krupp. And he posted a picture of a book and says, "Does this count as a good book?" And in brackets, it's very depressing. And it references episode 4 of episode 16 of season 4 of this show, which is where
Mm-hmm.
I said people should read a good book. I said something
Yes.
about a good book. Hang on, I said people should read a good book instead of hanging on the social medias or something, I think. Anyway, the book is Brüssel sehen und sterben. Translates to Seeing Bruges or Seeing Brussels and then Die, which is kind of like a James Bond title, but like slightly
Yep.
modified by Nico Semsrott, who is a German politician / comedian who is in the EU Parliament and kind of says
Okay.
it's making him very depressed, and so he's only wearing black these days. And I don't know. I love the guy. He's really cool, and
Yeah.
apparently he has a memoir now. I haven't read it yet, but I actually also wanna read it. So
Okay. I'm kind of tickled by that wearing only black because he's so depressed. Like, I've just started off as a goth in my late teens and have never given wearing black up.
and also the guy's whole shtick is he always talks like this. He is just very monotone, and so he's
Okay.
on stage doing stand up with this voice, and it just works. I don't know. I don't know why it just works.
Does he do that in the Parliament?
Yes, he does. He does.
Right. That's kind of fun.
Recently, there was a thing where he just says, "Okay, we need to create like distribute wealth better." So, like with the voice that I just like imitated, and like
Yep.
so,
Yep.
we're gonna do a reality TV show where the richest 5% people in Europe will be forced to enter this reality TV show, and then they have a month to lose half of their net worth. Otherwise, they will be put on the guillotine. And he just like put it. He like just put it out there in like his incredibly serious voice, wearing the black hoodie, and I don't know, it's fantastic.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's
It
brilliant.
is fantastic. That is way better than most other politicians that you see in the news every day or so.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I'm going to have to check him out. That's quite fun and definitely tickles my sense of humor there.
Yeah. Speaking of user feedback, though, like you wanted to show me or tell me about user feedback you got for the GoVJ Pro launch. GoVJ 3 launch, not
GoVJ 3, not Pro. Yeah, remember, I've figured my naming out. It's going to be
not Pro VJ, GoVJ.
Yes, so GoVJ, the original, the OG, was released last week. Now, I just wanted to talk very quickly about like a couple of things I did ahead of the release because I think that's actually like it's part of what I do anyway by default now. But it's definitely kind of seems to be adding up. It seems to be paying a dividend back in terms of the effort So
Mm-hmm.
what is that? Well, when I stood the ProVJ landing page up last December, the main thing that I had off that was a mailing list. So I started a mailing list sign up on that landing page, which I've linked with my existing mailing list that I've had for over 9 years now for GoVJ. And what I've done there is I've now got nearly 300 people signed up to that mailing list. So it's not like huge numbers, but it's also not like nothing either. So the mailing list is the thing. At the beginning of the week, I sent out an email to the mailing list, warming things up, as it were. So I had a screenshot of the waiting for review status from App Store Connect, telling people that it was waiting on Apple now, and if everything goes well, it'll be out at the weekend. I posted similar things to Instagram, and in fact, actually, it's probably only Instagram that I bothered with for that side of stuff, and then that's linked to a Facebook account, and there's a whole bunch of people within the video mixing and VJ scene who are following me there now. I've been gradually building up this presence over the last 6 months, because, again, probably relevant detail is I kind of jettisoned everything Instagram, Meta, Facebook a couple of years ago. So yeah, I started re-engaging with that just for the app.
Right.
Anyway, so warmed those things up, seeded that sort of content ahead of the launch, got the app over the other side of review and approved. So the only thing I had to do was hit the button to release. Friday morning I did that. So I could just test it during the day here in New Zealand. One of the benefits of being ahead of everybody else in the time zones is like I can do that.
Smart.
You're all asleep. Yeah. And also if somebody else stumbled across it, I didn't particularly care. You know, like this, we're not talking about some big embargoed release here. It's like if somebody manages to go, oh, Dave, three's released already. I'm going to be like, oh, you found that. Nice. You know, so there's something else I wanted to relay is that even though I was trying to control the timing of when I put out the release to be for the weekend, there's nothing on my side, nothing that I believe I needed to get too wound up about, right? Like if somebody finds it early, doesn't matter. And that's a kind of chill with release I perhaps didn't have way back in 2015 when I first released it. You know, like I wanted everything to be just perfect. So it's kind of been interesting to reflect on that. It's like, you know, yeah, my first release was definitely nerve-wracking, and then this time was more just like a series of things I knew I had to do. But the good stuff is that this has worked. You know, like warming it up. I've then had, when I posted, it's now here, and I posted a video up with all of the screenshots out of the App Store, just cycling with a crossfade on them over like 10, 15 seconds. That really kicked everything off on the socials.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And to put a bit of a metric on this, I have increased my revenue by 50% in May over April.
Nice.
Yeah. Like that will fade, right? That is the release excitement and the blip that you tend to see with a big announcement. But the interesting thing will be if I look back in another sort of 3 or 4 weeks' time, what level are things now at? Have I actually shifted the regular traffic with better screenshots, better features? We'll answer that in a month or so. Yeah. But
I like it.
Burying the lead.
You really have a knack for the communication. I feel like you don't want to do it, but if you decide to do it, I feel like then you're actually really good at it.
And you've summed me up entirely there. Like if I don't want to do it. It is a necessary thing, and I mean, crikey, I posted to
because I
Instagram.
get these emails as well. Like I am subscribed to your newsletter, and like they're just good.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I tend to, write it all out, and then I go back 2 or 3 times to it to see what I can take away. That's my approach. The other thing is I write how I talk, so there are so many commas in everything I write. So, but you won't see it because I've gone back a few times and taken them out and put full stops in.
Smart.
Yeah.
I like that.
But for user feedback, as soon as I hit the emails out, I had within an hour somebody replied back on top of my mailing list mail to my contact address, and I had just a one-liner of like, "This looks legit." From somebody else. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. And then Instagram wise, it's been interesting. I've had like a whole bunch of folks liking stuff and interacting and being quite stoked it's finally released. I've had a good thread over on Reddit where there's been really just generally wholesome and positive interactions, which is not something I always associate with Reddit. So that's been quite cool. It's a very good subreddit. But the stuff that I really got excited about was this one guy messaged over the weekend thanking me for the app release. And I'm just going to look through I'm not going to share these because it's his personal conversation with me, but I can distill the message, as it were, if I can just bring these up. There we go. So he said to me, he tagged me in a reel. So the reel was the app in use in this gig at the LA County Fair. And I could actually see an iPad running GoVJ, and then he pans up to the stage, and I could see the output, and it's like, oh, cool, he's using the app. And I just said, oh, I'd love to see that. That's great, thank you. And he replied with, the app was a lifesaver tonight. I'm so glad I came across it. I was like, that's an interesting turn of phrase. I need to know more.
What did the person do tonight?
Yeah, so I asked her to tell me more, and he said, oh, before that app, I was literally just using a PowerPoint for a static image and had no way to spice it up. People from my team were getting on at me for it looking too dull on the screen. And so, yeah, he was then able to download GoVJ, put a more put more flair onto that output, and that saved the gig for him. So
nice,
yeah,
awesome. That's really cool. Congrats! Like that's one of the. Did you ask him if you could, I don't know, get a testimonial or something?
I'm going to do that. Yeah, that's definitely going to be on my follow up with him and a couple of other people. So I plan on grabbing testimonials from all of this, and then on the next update of the app, I'm going to include them in the screenshots.
Fantastic.
If I get the right permission. So yeah, because the way I've got my screenshots, I figure it will be the second or third screenshot in. So actually, it'll be like presenting the app, presenting the main message, which is run the visuals for your show, then potentially testimonials, social proof, and then into the features. So it's kind of like you've seen the app. Now I'm telling you what people say about it. And now I'm telling you all the things it can do. I think that might be an interesting flow.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So lots of fuzzies. I've had a few other random little bits of feedback from people. I've had a couple of small feature requests and things as well. So version 3.1 is already has stuff allotted to it. And yeah, the other thing is it's given me a lot of enthusiasm for getting into Pro VJ as well.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. So yeah, good to be on this side of it.
Ride that momentum, but at the same time, also don't forget to take a break and celebrate your successes.
Yes. And Daniel, I think you spotted this a couple of nights ago. I am going to link this one up in the show notes, but I posted a photograph of the app in use with my test iPads in shot.
Oh yeah,
So just
I remember.
yeah. So to describe this picture, I've got my iPad Pro at the back of the table, and then in front of it, I've got three other iPads. I've got a couple of 9.7s and a 10.5 Pro from way back when, and they're all running the app, and they've all got the different themes of the UI on, so they're all different colored interfaces. And I'm using the NDI network streaming to send the video between all of them.
That's so cool.
It's a lot of fun. However, it ran like a dog. You wouldn't use it in a real production, but as a vision, right? I've got several devices, and they're all beautifully connected together with this networked video. It's kind of the vision I had for this app a long while
Yeah.
ago
You know
now.
what I found the most impressive one though is you recently started posting on TikTok, and
Mm-hmm.
you posted one video where you basically you took a video and then you outputted it over the network using a
Mm-hmm.
loopback device, I think, to
Yes.
itself. And then you kind of
Yes.
mixed the original video and the looped back video that was just like delayed by, I don't know, half a second, just to make interesting effects for visualizations for VJing. And
Yes.
I don't know, that was so trippy. I loved it. Like, it was really cool.
Oh, thank you. And that's that is something you can do. You can send this network video out and then consume it back through in the app. And the even though it's all local, because it's got to encode it and then re-encode it, there's latency, maybe 3 or 4 frames. There's also signal degradation because you're compressing and decompressing and losing some of the original input. And so yes, if you do that and then you blend it back with the video you were showing, you get these really trippy um, feedback effects and bits where the image like sort of fades and cycles off itself. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that sort of effect. So it was kind of interesting to just
I
play
don't know.
with
It's
it and
also
show
like
people.
because it's not it's because it's not made in a shader directly. It feels somehow a bit more analog, and that's actually kind of
Yes,
cool.
yeah, and it's funny you should say that because actually that with the old analog mixer that I used to use 20 years ago, that has two outputs on it, and one of my favorite things to do back then was literally this, where I would take one of the outputs and just cable it back into one of the inputs and achieve a very similar sort of set of effects. So yeah, a bit of going back to my analog roots with that sort of thing.
Nice,
um
awesome.
but yeah, I just wanted to sort of say, like, okay, all this is done, what am I going to do next other than code? One thing I'm definitely going to do is I'm going to be doing some short videos, and they will
Very good.
be how-tos.
Oh,
So
that's smart. That is very smart.
yeah, and I think that's going to be useful because it'll work as content. It'll work as things I can, um, keep cycling on social media as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. But
I keep wanting to do that myself, but there's just like too much. I don't know, it's too much to do. And also, like, whenever
yep,
I find time to document stuff, I'd rather write text first because I feel like I don't want to go the route where I only have video
yep.
that explains how stuff works.
No, that's fair. That's fair. And maybe there's a world, Daniel, where I do one of these videos and then I go, "Hey, ChatGPT, summarize it for me, please," and
Sure, why
then
not?
use that as a jumping off point for a piece of text content as well, and do some
Yeah.
sort of notes. But yeah. Anyway, plenty to do, plenty to get on with, but actually super pumped. And actually, it's funny, Daniel, because if I think about what I was doing indie wise maybe a year ago
Mm-hmm.
versus what I'm doing now, I've got a lot more enthusiasm for what is my core product, what has always been the thing I've been working on. And yeah, given it's been the second rebuild, the third build of the app overall, it's kind of interesting that I'm sort of 10 years down the track and still into it, you know. But,
Very nice. So what is the next step for you? Like, what do you want to do with GoVJ now? You've taken your break, but like, is it now it's like straight off to Pro VJ, or is it like a few more features, or do you know it all?
I've got a plan. Yeah, I do have a plan. So immediate priority is GoVJ 3.1. And within that, there's a couple of bugs on iOS 16 in the UI that I'm not happy about. So definitely want to get those fixed. There's a couple of very small features that shouldn't tie me up too much. So just to go over there, that's I'm going to add MIDI control for the camera zoom, because at the moment that's not
Nice.
connected to a parameter. So that'll be like 10 minutes worth of code and it's in. And there's a feature request for having the ability to nudge the playhead, nudge the playback back and forth a little bit. I'm not adding any UI for that, but I am going to add MIDI controls for it so people can do that if they've got a controller. So that'll be another easy one. And then other than that, it's often into the how-to videos I described. So actually, there's very minimal tweaks on GoVJ now and more in like a holding position for the moment. And then, into Pro VJ, there is a side quest that I want to go on, and I'm being very wary about this. But the network video that we've spoken about, there is an app that I want to exist that currently doesn't in the form that I want it. And effectively, I want to make like a camera switcher app. There are apps out there that do this with the network video. But yeah, they're not what I want, and they're not charging what I think is reasonable. So I'm kind of looking and going, okay, well, I've got this stack now. I've got this pipeline where I can, play with this stuff quite easily, and with the node-based video pipeline I built, how quickly can I build my little camera switcher?
What does that mean? Like, I can't really what is a camera switcher?
Okay, so imagine you've got 4 or 5 of these, 4 or 5 phones or iPads or something running a networked video source using this NDI protocol, and that you're wanting to switch between camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, and to mix that output. So you might have a view of all the cameras together on screen, a view of your output, and you very simply just want to go, I want that one right now, or that one, or I want to...
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was such a, that seems like a, I don't know, like a built-in feature, basically.
Yeah. So yeah, there are versions of that, but nothing as good as I think could be achieved. So I want to give it a go. But
sure.
I also don't want to derail from Pro VJ too far. So it has to be, as they would say in the industry, time boxed.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Also, I sometimes experience this with TelemetryDeck, where I think in retrospect I should have held off on creating some of the features, because some of the features I don't really have the time to really push on them, and polish them, so they're just there, kind of languishing and being a bit useful, but also people get annoyed because they use it and then they realize, oh, this could be way better, and this is kind of disappointing. Kind of how Apple does Mac OS utilities.
Yep.
Yeah, and so in retrospect, I think I could have shown a bit more restraint there, and only I had 1 or 2 features less. But I don't want to cut off the features, because I'm not Google either. I'm going to keep those, but
Yeah. We shall see. I definitely don't want to derail myself too far with the side quest, but
yeah. Speaking of, by the way, one of the things that I kind of wish I could just let die, but like that's just not possible, is the TelemetryDeck iOS app.
Oof. Yes. Yes.
Which I don't know, a month ago or 2 months ago kind of stopped working because I needed to rework the APIs a lot to allow for multi-organization. And so it's just been like people have just been unable to do anything with it because you can't log into it. And it turns out though, according to my stats, like people still like to this day, like just like open the app every now and then. And I figure like they're probably very disappointed. And also like they keep writing us. And so a while ago, like a few months ago actually, a young man wrote to me and Lisa asking, "Hey, can I do an internship with you?" He's 17 and he's I think he's won various like Apple scholarship things, but don't quote me on that. Anyway, like he's 17, but he programs at the level of a like at least masters of computer science, basically. And so kind of for the last 2 weeks, I have been forcing this unfortunate soul to like rework the TelemetryDeck iOS app while screen sharing with me and listening to me drone about like data structures and algorithms.
Yep. And
so I'm sure he has learned things mostly about I don't know how to like shut out unwanted information. But the end result is that the TelemetryDeck iOS app is now slightly reworked. You can log in again. Like this is not live yet, but in the repository,
yes,
kind of is there. You can even switch organizations, and it also the chart system is actually reworked because that was half broken as well. And now the charts are using SwiftUI charts, which makes them look prettier. Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
It also makes it so that like half of the charts just say, "Hey, I don't support this chart type yet," but the ones that are supported are really pretty.
I'm wondering, can I get that out of the repo and compile it myself?
Sure. It's in the repo. It is like just get it out there. Like I'm gonna like after some cleanup, I'm gonna put it on test flight. Because that's how the current app is being distributed anyway. So everyone who has it will get it this way. And at some point, I actually need to rename this thing because it's still called App Telemetry, which is a name that we are not allowed to use anymore. And
I remember
actually put it on the App Store, but that's another topic for another day. But yeah, they can go to the repo. It is open source, as they say, on GitHub, github.com/TelemetryDeck/ telemetry viewer, I think.
Awesome.
I'm going to put it in the show notes. Yep, there we go.
Oh, that's great. And that's also super cool that your intern is getting plenty of Daniel pair programming time. I know it's adding up to you being busy, but that's a great introduction to stuff.
Yeah, we're doing like because he's not of age. Like there's pretty stringent laws. Like for example, we're not allowed to pay him. So
right,
we're not paying him, but I mean we can send him a bit of merch. And I think recently I accidentally ordered something off Apple.com and I completely mistyped the address. I don't know what's happening with that.
Yeah, I understand.
But yeah, it's been fun. So we've been doing basically 9 to 1, like or 9:30 to 1-ish sessions.
Yep.
With mostly programming, and yeah, it's been fun. I'm gonna miss him when he's gone. And I also I also talked today to my future data scientist student.
Okay.
So what's the name? Like, is it called a working student? Like, basically, is as like if you get a job as a student and it kind of supports your academic career, but only partially. Like, it's not a postdoc, it's not like a pre-doc.
I don't know. Like, what is that? Would they be doing that alongside study, or is it gap year, or
no,
what?
No, it's like, I don't know. It's like maybe it's a German thing, but anyway, like if you are a student, you can get a job that is like 40 hours a month.
Okay.
And for actually like minimum wage pay, I think, and then like you'd usually get something that is like close to what you're studying, but also it might just be like, I don't know, like somewhere. But the thing is, like, you don't have to pay like health insurance and stuff like that.
Yep.
Because yeah, and like so like these people are not paid too much, but this guy is cool, and he now has access to all 5.1 billion data points in our database. Which is actually pretty cool. And so if he decides to, I don't know, do his master's thesis or something, then like we have the data to support him. And so he's going to start July 1st. So that's going to be awesome too.
That's really good news. That'll, I mean, hopefully provide some level of extra insights and things that you would not necessarily have had the time to get into yourself. So that's, yeah. I don't know whether anything like that program exists elsewhere outside of Germany, but like certainly in New Zealand we have a scheme that we call Summer of Tech, and within Summer of Tech, it's effectively somewhere between an internship and a grad program. And I think it's literally an internship, but a lot of companies tend to feed those folks straight into their grad program once they've actually graduated. So I think that probably behaves quite similarly, except that rather than being done as work alongside study, it is typically done over the summer holidays. So you do like a 3-month stint or so between that gap.
I've seen it too.
Yeah. And yeah, we get companies I've worked in here typically see quite a good range of candidates in that way, and definitely work with some very, very good interns and eventual grads through that program as well. So it definitely works. It's a good idea. And I love having those people in my teams.
I'm also looking forward to that. With that, of course, like I'm you see that I'm kind of slowly working towards having an army of minions is what I want, basically.
Yeah.
It's just that I'm also realizing that if I want an army of minions, then I also have to have the like project management to support them. So I'm slowly starting to build up processes where I can actually manage people, because like until a few months ago, it's just been me and the code basically, and one huge board on GitHub, and that just doesn't fly now. So yeah, I'm thinking about various lightweight project management tools, or not in tools. Like I'm just going to use whatever GitHub gives me, but like methodologies, I guess. So it's not going to be full Scrum or something like that.
Oh, there's certainly something that I'm.
Hey, you're working 8 hours this week. Let's spend 6 of them just like talking about what the name of the sprint should be.
Oh God, no. Yeah, I mean, we could get all the way into talking through that, but I think with that be a whole other show. But what I find really interesting with this, Daniel, is like I'm keen to think about what sort of processes are you going to end up having eventually, and is this going to add up to? Are you going to end up in a situation year or two down the line where you have enough people to have a small office or something like that? Are you planning to always sort of stay remote or distributed and that side of things?
I think it's very likely going to stay remote first. Like, I'm not saying I'm completely 100% opposed to an office, but I've worked at places where where they were remote first, but then they also had offices or an office or multiple offices in like various cities. And like, if there is a TelemetryDeck Augsburg office at some point, I wouldn't be opposed to that, because especially I kind of miss, like, I'm the one who was always for remote work. And now, I don't know, like 4 years into the pandemic, but also like 6 or 7 years into me mostly working from home, I miss office life. I can
understand a bit of that.
I miss the disconnect between home and workplace. And like both location wise and time wise. But I also miss the collaboration, because I don't know, like I can get like to 90% with the right video collaboration tools, but I don't know, like sometimes it's really nice to have a coffee with someone.
Yes. Yeah, I see that. And it's kind of funny because I'm massively a big proponent of remote work. The thing I do miss, if I miss anything about sort of in-person collaboration, if you like, is exactly that. It's being able to go for a coffee and being able to catch up pretty directly one-on-one with somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, I've been finding, certainly in the last month or so, I've been trying to make room for some of that with my day job. The bit I
Smart.
always, it's certainly a nice thing to do, and the bit I always sort of, I guess, um, come back to with all of this is like sort of that split between remote, in office, hybrid, all of that. Um, some of the pushback I remember seeing early in the pandemic from people sort of saying how much they hated remote work and how it was difficult and all the rest of it. If I read between the lines of all of that, it's all about, it's actually about how your organization communicates in general,
Mm,
less so about the location. And so
yeah.
while you're at the beginning of this and you're sort of describing like, okay, we would always be remote first, you know, with some optionality on an office or meeting up or that sort of thing. Um, I think it's a good call because there's a lot of situations now where companies are describing themselves as remote friendly or hybrid. And the reality of it is like everything takes place through Microsoft Teams or Slack or something like that.
Mm,
Like, you know, you kind of don't get out of the tools just for being in the same office at a certain scale. And so, what I feel very strongly about is that it doesn't really matter which flavor you're at. It's about having good articulated lines of communication, good processes for how you're bringing work together, all the stuff you're kind of on the beginning of getting into, I guess, which
yeah.
is
I've had really
that.
good templates for this, like various places I've worked
Yeah.
at where these things really worked well. And
Yep.
so I'm just trying to emulate those as well as possible. And also like the
That's
experience
cool.
that I've had before. Like one thing that I'm kind of hitting right now is I used to be like when I was a technical leader at various projects, I used to be like able to very easily actually impose a process on people and then just like iterate over it to like until people were happy with it.
Yep.
But the problem now is that I'm working with a lot of people right now who are not working full time on TelemetryDeck. So they are like freelancers or the intern,
Mm-hmm.
or like in the future, the working student. So these are people who are just like basically like passing glancing blows, or even like people who are working for free or for like other benefits for TelemetryDeck. So they're kind of donating their time. And
Mm-hmm.
so I can't like be as pushy with those people.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
actually like so, and so that actually makes imposing order a bit harder.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I'm gonna make it somehow, but I felt it every now and then that, oh yeah, that is not working as I intend. But it's not like not as if I can call this person into my office
No.
or into my Zoom room and then talk to them about it, because well, I could probably, but
Yeah.
there's
So
a bit
you're
more.
is at that point you're async by default, right? Because you have no control over how where they're at in that sense.
Yeah, yeah, but the async is fine. Like I can
Mm-hmm.
sync up or whatever, but I'm finding it hard. I think I'm finding it hard to tell someone, "Hey, I'm very grateful that you're doing this for me, but also I need you to do it differently."
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh. Oh wow, this is a
That's
therapy session.
yes. Um, that's an interesting one, and I think again, like when you hit that sort of a moment, it's got to be a different discussion when they're not directly employed and full time with you compared to what you've got. But I do wonder if there's something in there about again, it comes back to communication. you've got to be able to give some level of feedback on stuff, and you're the one that's got to look after whatever is built and done longer term. Yeah. So it's got to be something you feel able to look after in that sense and maintain. There's probably something from their side of things as well about you being as clear and communicative as possible up front about that direction, about where you want things to go, because sort of at the end of the piece of work, at the end of the development it's done at that point.
So that's the other thing, I think.
Yeah,
I'm suddenly not only the technical lead, but also the product owner.
Yes,
like not in the Scrum sense. I keep coming back to Scrum. Like I actually like Scrum. It's just like not fitting for what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But in like as in this is my product and I want to decide how it looks like, and then I kind of need to communicate that. And that is actually something new for me, because usually I my thing was, okay, we know how it needs to look like and we know how it should work. Like let's talk about how to implement that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm also very grateful actually that I get to work with the people who I can work with, especially like people like Jihad, who has been mentioned before, and I think he's in the Discord, right?
He is, yeah.
He sometimes is, I think. Who is like extremely self-directed, which is really helpful because I'm so busy that I sometimes I can't even like really do the thing where I am like available or like at a short notice to talk about like how should we do this or whatever. And so sometimes if I'm not available, like a few days later, he will just send me a thing like a PR with like, hey, I just did it how I thought it could be, and then you could still like improve stuff. And he will also come up by himself with improvements to the product that he would like to see, and then just like write a ticket and be like, hey, can I work on this? And it's actually really helpful.
Oh, that's cool.
And so one thing that he did that we actually released now is the TelemetryDeck Swift SDK 2.0, which is a huge cleanup regarding naming. So the APIs, as in like what is a function called that you call to send a signal, is now the same across all SDKs.
Brilliant.
And what's it called? There's like a huge amount of I want to link to this. I wanted to link you to the blog post, but it's actually not online yet. That's interesting. I need to put it online.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna put the blog post online just right after this. So yeah, the rename, but also the way we collect various data, and also like how we name the signals. Like for example, like previously things would just be called like, I don't know, system version, and now we're calling them TelemetryDeck operating system major version or whatever, with this dots kind of namespace things, because then there's less collisions with like actually like properties that our customers then send us. But also it's just clearer, especially if you're getting signals from lots of different SDKs, and that's actually really cool. And he has also
awesome.
written the documentation for it, which I was very grateful for.
Even better. That's
yeah.
Oh,
so
well.
Yeah, it's been a huge amount happening for both you and me. One last thing I really want to tell you about is,
go
on. So I saw James Thompson of pCalc fame. pCalc is an app that is just a calculator for the Mac, has been for 20 years. But James's thing is that he will take every Apple platform that comes out and port the calculator to that platform, and he will also take every single feature that Apple ever puts in their operating systems, and like he will build something with that feature. Like the calculator has, for example, because it supports because he wants to support like Apple's 3D stuff, you can in 3D then like role playing dice like D20s and stuff like that. And of course there were some Vision Pro and whatever.
Yep.
And that's his whole thing basically. And so like he posted, oh, hey, I now have t-shirts. And so he has these t-shirts with the PCalc logo, which is actually a D20 dice or die.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, that's cool. And he just you just upload the thing to the Cotton Bureau and then it works. And I'm like, I should probably do that because you remember a few years ago, I tried having a merch store, but then it would only send to Europe. But most of our fans are actually in the US.
Yes.
And so I actually submitted the TelemetryDeck logo to Cotton Bureau.
Okay.
For the on-demand store, and they say on their submission page, we only we reject 90% of submissions. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna try this, but like whatever. And they actually did. So I've waited for a review, and the review actually came back positive. So there is now a TelemetryDeck T-shirt in 2 different colors.
Yeah.
On Cotton Bureau.
I'm just I'm just taking a look right now. I could even get a hoodie. Oh, that's awesome.
You gotta look at the sizes, like, because somehow the t-shirt is like, especially the orange shirt, which I love the most, is only available in M, which is too small for me, for example.
Yep.
But yeah, look at what's happening there. So like what I'm doing is I'm actually I set the profit margins on Cotton Bureau to 0 so that we don't have to pay taxes for it. We don't have to, because it's not generating any income. This is at cost, basically. You're only paying Cotton Bureau for this, which I'm totally fine with.
Mm-hmm.
Shipping to Europe is not as good, but we have merch in Europe already. So like that's more merch, I think. And I don't know, like shipping to New Zealand is probably horrible.
I don't know. Sometimes it varies, but let me just add this to my cart and have a look. I want to see how much the shipping is here.
Yeah.
How much it's going to wound me. No, okay, it's not telling me. I've got to continue further. Come on.
Yeah, I think you need to enter your address and zip code, and then once you enter the zip code, it will suddenly tell you. Like for Germany, it's like $20 or so.
Let's have a look. Shipping information, New Zealand, shipping service, okay. Yeah, this is perhaps an after the show thing that I can look at it for. But anyway, yeah, super keen to have a look. And you've given me an idea, Daniel. I definitely want to have a look and see if there's anything I can do for GoVJ with this as well.
Try it out.
But yeah, that's wicked. That's really, really cool. So I can finally get myself a Sandrine t-shirt.
In addition to all the stickers and whatever.
Yep.
Oh, I need to check postage to New Zealand for. Maybe I can send you a notebook. I don't know. I'm gonna try it out.
I'll figure it out. Just for reference as well, yes, stickers. I have many. There's one on the back of the test device there, holding up a phone to the camera, and Sandrine is
love it
happily there. But Daniel, I'm afraid I'm going to have to love you and leave you. I've got to get on and into the rest of my day
that
here.
Is absolutely fine. It is late, so have a fantastic day. It's been amazing talking to you again. I hope to see you soon again.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this, thank you so much for listening. Please rate us on iTunes. Please rate us like us on YouTube. Send us comments, send us emails at contact@waitingforreview, or just mention us on the socials. Where can people find you, Dave?
You can find me on Mastodon at dave@social.lightbeamapps.com. And of course, you can find out all about my apps at lightbeamapps.com. But if you are particularly curious, please go to govjapp.com and see the website for the latest release there. How about yourself, Daniel?
And also, go to telemetrydeck.com and look at my new landing pages that hopefully are online by the time that this episode goes live. And also write to me at daniel@social.telemetrydeck.com.
Great stuff. Well,
all right.
Catch you later, Daniel.
See you soon. Bye.